Hey, welcome. I don't know what Blake was saying back there, but welcome to Bollox Talks and Tangents. It's Thursday at 6:34, and we're ready to talk about...
We are ready to talk about sports, scandals,
and inventors.
And inventors. I love sports scandals.
Oh, the sports scandals is a lot of fun. We got a lot of things to talk about. We got a whiskey of the week that we got to talk about. We got some word origins coming your way.
And we got to thank our sponsors.
And we have to thank our amazing sponsors.
Yes, indeed.
All right, let's start off with the one at the very top, and we're drinking it tonight, and that is...
City Gates and St. Augustine Distillery. Yes, indeed.
Yep, I got my sipping area a little messed up because usually when I sip, the 904 is facing that way or Troy's facing that way, but I got it over to the side.
It's all wonky.
I got it cockeyed.
He's got it cockeyed, ladies and gentlemen. He is drinking tonight the smoked maple whiskey. It is absolutely delicious. These guys make some damn good booze, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And the tours are incredible. You've got to go in and just see what they've done at City Gates Distillery. It is magnificent. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful.
Speaking of magnificent, after we left the show last week, Blake and I went to 900 Degree Pizza and Pasta.
How was it?
Blake, how good is that pizza, man?
It was really good.
It is so good. And then we had the ravioli also.
You guys doubled down.
The actual pasta ravioli, not the fried ravioli.
Yeah, the pasta, like the ravioli, not the fried ravioli.
No. Shit.
The stuff that sticks to you.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So, and they're so nice over there.
They're so good. And it's right by the high school. If you're going to the high school, if you're there for anything, it's baseball season, it's track season. Go to 900 Degree Pizza and Pasta.
It's right off there.
Amazing.
Right off Lewis Speedway right there.
I would also say hi to Heather as well.
Say hi to Heather. She's so nice over there. She's always got a smile on, and she listens to the show.
She's mad cool. So, I like Heather a lot.
All right. So, cheers to
Heather.
There you go.
Cheers.
Keep making those good pizzas. All right. We can't drink at the same time. Abare, Kresge and Associates. It's tax season.
These guys are still working.
Oh,
they work round the clock in tax season.
Yeah, it's 6:36 right now, and I guarantee you they're at the office.
For sure they are.
Yeah.
All
right. But if you want to save money, and most people I know like to save money.
I've never met somebody who liked to throw it away.
I've seen people that do it, but I don't know if they like doing it. They just don't know how to stop themselves.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. But these guys will help you save money. And I know you're saying, I can't afford to pay for an accountant. You can't afford not to. Can't afford not to. Abare, Kresge and Associates, these guys are the best in town.
The best.
All right. The Beacon Listening Room and Gypsy Cab.
Woo!
All right, these
guys...
Had a few
drinks there on Friday night.
Yeah.
The music was great.
Yeah.
Lauren Gilliam was playing. Ooh, love Lauren.
So good. And she's good by herself or with Mad Dog?
Yeah.
So.
It's tremendous.
Was she just by herself or did she have the whole band?
I was around the corner. But Lauren came over and I talked to her.
Oh, okay. You know she was there.
The music was good. Yeah.
You know she was there. All right. Well, always, I'm telling you right now, it's the best music on the island. The Beacon Listening Room. And Gypsy Cab, you can't go wrong with that. You can't have a bad meal there.
It is a St. Augustine staple.
The salad dressing is amazing. They're doing a Eat with Ned. Yeah. It's actually sold out. So it is on the 27th because of our show last week. It sold out the next day.
Just like that.
Bam, gone. But they're going to be doing that type of thing about once a month. So keep your eyes out for that with Ned. All right, Meehan's Irish Pub.
We are in St. Patrick's season.
Oh,
I mean, it's March 7th.
It's around the corner.
10 days away. 10 days away, ladies and gentlemen. It is the greatest location. It is right downtown. If you want to do St. Patrick's Day properly, and I will see you there, 11 o'clock, start out the backyard, and let's see how long you can roll.
All right. Is that on
challenge.
Sunday?
Friday. It's a Friday, the end of spring break. Yeah. I can make this happen. I can make it happen. We are close. We are 8 days away. 8 days away. 8 days away.
And they have 3 bars in one. Just amazing. They got Johnny's Oyster bar upstairs. They got the pub downstairs, and they got the backyard in the back.
It'll be rocking.
Make sure you pay all 3 this time.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
All right. St. Augustine Pirate Museum. They have 800 artifacts sitting right on Sponsors Row there.
Sponsors Row. I love it. I love it. Hey, these guys are so great. Cindy has done so much for helping every event in town. I cannot stress how much fun I have at the Pirate Museum. Everybody I send there, they come back going, oh my God, it's amazing.
Can't believe you didn't take me before.
Yeah, why I hear that all the time. Yeah. That's what people say to me. Goes, why did I not know about this? I'm like, you're not fucking watching the show.
Yeah.
I said every week.
They need to pay attention.
Pay attention, people.
And support our sponsors. All right, here's another place. It's one of the best places to have a meal in town, and definitely the best view in town.
No question.
If you're having dinner, there's no place better than River and Fort.
Troy, what can you see from that restaurant?
You can see a river, and you can see Fort. You can see a fort. River and Fort.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So creative with their name.
Oh my God. But you know what? When you're sitting there, right, and you're just looking out at that view, it is incredible. But the food is amazing. If you haven't been in it, how much the place is gorgeous.
The bar has every quality liquor you want. Like, I'm a bourbon guy. If you want Blanton's, they have Blanton's. They want Buffalo Trace, they have Buffalo Trace. Basil Hayden, they have that. They have St. Augustine bourbon.
Yeah.
They have everything in town.
Whatever you
St.
want.
Augustine Distillery bourbon.
Beautiful.
So good. And the meals are amazing. The appetizer tower that they have, the seafood appetizer tower,
God, it's so good.
is, it can be a meal in itself. So go check it out. Say hi to Jeff and Bob over there. Those guys are the owners and just have crushed it. And they got a new one coming.
Got a new one coming?
All right, Palm Valley Golf Course.
Palm Valley Golf Course.
My man Chris out there at Palm Valley, he is ramping up the tracer. He's got a couple of the bays open now.
Really?
And we're real excited about it. I have not made it out there. It's a 9-hole course. You play it twice.
You walk the course. It's old school golf.
You walk the course. It is just a blast. And there's no better golf course to learn how to play golf than at Palm Valley Golf Course.
That's magic. Course. It's magic out there.
Yeah.
Like, you can't believe how it feels like you're in the middle of nowhere and how close it is to everything.
Yeah, the driving range is as good a driving range as I've ever been to.
Yeah, for sure.
Greens are in great shape. It's
gorgeous.
Yeah, so
Palm Valley Golf Course. Get out there, people. You haven't been there. It's been the same family since the 1980s. 1980s.
Yeah. So
what's not to like?
Yep. All right. Is word origin time.
Word origin time. All right.
I feel like you want me to lead off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
I'm gonna put it over here because my notes are here.
Yeah.
And I drink right-handed.
Yeah.
It's a better spot for it.
It's better.
All right. Hip hip hooray.
Yay! Hip hip. What are we cheering?
Well, you might not ever use this again once you find out the origin of it.
Hip hip hooray. Okay, what is it? Hip hip hooray. Hip hip hooray.
Hip hip hooray. Sounds like a very cheerful thing, right?
It does.
It's actually a very racist thing.
I hate it.
It was used by the Germans to corral, like it basically means get going, get going.
Yeah.
Hep hep. It's a German term. Hep hep.
No.
Get going, get going. And it was used by the Nazi Germany to corral the Jewish people.
No.
And I've used this term my whole life. I've used this term. And I don't think I can ever use this term again.
No way. That's where it comes from?
Comes from the German word hep hep, H-E-P, H-E-P,
yeah.
which means kind of hurry, hurry. And it was used to corral, and I don't think I can ever use it again.
You just blew my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Show's over.
I'm done with that one.
Mic drop.
All right, I got one for you. I got loophole. Loophole. My wife was asking me about this. Where does the word loophole come from? We all know what the word loophole means, right?
Yeah.
So it goes back to the 16th century, and it was a slit in a castle wall or a fortress wall from which you would fire arrows out of, right? And it comes from the Dutch-German word lupen, L-U-P-N, which means to watch or to peer at something. And so it became a lupen, was a loophole.
To look out of.
To look out of, right, yeah. And that was it. A loophole goes back to that, and then it's somehow...
See, and I'm a master of finding a loophole.
Abare, Kresge and Associates, they're masters of finding loopholes too. Yeah. So that's it. Like when you're circumventing stuff and you're finding a way around something, when you're looking for the loopholes, that's where it comes from.
Yeah. All right. So, in honor of St. Patrick's Day.
8 days away.
All right. And just to let you guys know, we are not doing a show next week. It is spring break.
Spring break.
So Derek is off for the week, and I'm not going to make you come into work just to do the show. I will be working a little bit, but it's St. Patrick's Day at the end of that next week. So we're going to see you guys in 2 weeks after this one. But paddy wagon.
Not racist at all. Paddy wagon.
Paddy
Not
wagon.
a bit.
So I thought I knew what it meant. And when I looked it up, it meant exactly what I thought it meant. But it goes back to the 1700s. It goes back that far.
Yeah.
The paddy wagon. And it's a derogatory term towards Irish people.
Yeah. It's what we used to get thrown into.
It's exactly what it was when you became unruly,
obstreperous, engaging in fisticuffs,
and
looking like the Notre Dame mascot.
Law enforcement at that time would put people in wagons.
Yeah. And they were arresting so many Irish people
that they started calling it just the paddy wagon.
Right.
There goes the paddy wagon. As the police officer's wagon would go through town, they'd see a Irishman in there, and they go, "There goes the paddy wagon."
Yeah.
So it meant this one meant exactly what I thought it was going to be. The other one, I had no idea about it. The hip hip hooray.
This one, I was trying to suggest that it was racist, but it was just accurate.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this. I went to paddy wagon after I found out about the hip hip. It was on a racist list of phrases.
Wow.
So, unfortunately, I don't want to see what cookies I'm getting. Like my next one.
Yeah, your next one.
I really should have thought this.
You get invitations. You could be doing the Heil 5 real soon.
Wait, hold on, Dad. Was that actually the origin of hip hip hooray?
It's hep hep is what it's from. And I had it actually pulled up to see.
Blake is questioning you right now. He's questioning you. There's head shaking going on in there.
Did you look up the Wikipedia article for hip hip hooray?
All right. It's so Wikipedia is probably doing a very vanilla one, but here's exactly what it was. It basically started as a very harmless hep hep to call shepherds in, but during the Holocaust, the German citizens started using the rally cry when they would hunt down the Jewish citizens who were living in the ghettos, and the phrase anti-Semitic undertones go back as far as 1819 with the hep hep riots. A time both Jewish and emancipation from the German Confederacy and communal violence against German Jews. So what's yours, Blake? If you're questioning
come at me, bro.
You're questioning it.
Come on.
I read mine.
Do not question your father.
Yeah.
Okay, so the call was recorded in England in the beginning of the 19th century in connection with making a toast. 18th century dictionaries list hip as an attraction getting interjection. And as example from the 1790, it is repeated. Hip hip was as a preparatory call before making a toast or cheer in the early 19th century.
I'm going with mine.
Yeah.
I'm still never using it again.
Yeah, okay.
Are you gonna take the risk and use it, Blake?
Who even uses that phrase anymore?
Some people.
Lots of jolly people when they're about to cheer something.
Yeah, they do.
They did also cheer. They used that same exact phrase for King Charles when he officially became king.
Yeah, well, maybe in English, I'm not. I can tell you this: I'm not using it again.
And I'm not hip hip hooray Charles any day of the week.
Yeah, I don't even care about the
So
phrase.
you're using King Charles as your defining moment.
Yeah.
Pass.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Bad logic.
Are you going to use Oh, you never used it.
You know,
No.
Blake, it's time for you to eat humble pie.
Humble pie.
Yeah.
Is that the next one?
Yeah.
Really? Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Humble pie.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You know that moment when you're
thank
wrong?
you, Blake, for questioning that. You added more to the thing. Either way, I'm still not using it.
That was your father making you eat humble pie. So it goes back to the 1640s, and it was a thing called umble, U-M-B-L-E. Umble
U-M-B-L-E.
pie, U-M-B-L-E. And it was a pie that was made out of offal, O-F-F-A-L, the offal, the inner part of the animal, the viscera, the entrails,
The innards.
the heart, the kidneys, the lungs, the liver, the intestines,
Leftovers.
all baked into a pie, little pie crust on it, as for, the poor people.
Yeah.
And humble pie. That's where it comes from. Yeah. Particularly the inner parts of a deer. Because apparently that was pretty common back then, eating the venison. Yeah.
Because the higher-ups would throw it out, or they'd say, keep that.
They would have the back strap and all the good stuff, and then the middle bits.
Probably they had someone, basically clean the deer for them.
Yeah.
And they said,
and then
you just keep that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You just keep that, and that's how the humble became, I got it.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
and if you had too much humble pie and too many P's and Q's, you ended up in the paddy wagon.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. All right. We starting scandals or inventors?
Let's do scandals. I love some scandals. Sports scandals. I fucking love sports scandals.
All right.
Let's start with the granddaddy of them all, the big one, the baseball, the big one. Can we start there?
We can. And of course, we are talking about the biggest of all. When the commissioner first came into play, Field of Dreams, the movie, would never have been made.
We'd never have Field of Dreams. We would never have had 8 men.
8 men out.
Yeah,
and
good baseball.
And also for the record, it's if you build it, he will come. Not they will come.
He will come.
If you build it, he will come.
Yeah.
And he is
his dad.
What was his name?
Is it Al? I can't remember.
Kelleher? No. What the hell was his name?
I know Doc Graham was the young boy, and Shoeless Joe's the other one, but I can't think of what his name.
Kenny,
Keada?
I can see it. Doesn't matter.
People will put it in the comments.
Yeah.
All right.
Kinsella! Ray Kinsella! All right.
That's not it.
It is!
No, it's not it.
John Kinsella.
Kinsella, as we'd say.
Ray Liotta. Played Shoeless Joe.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Black Sox scandal of 1919. Shoeless Joe Jackson.
And do you know what team beat him?
I do. And I only know this because it's your favorite team.
That's right.
It is the Cincinnati Reds.
That's right. World Series champs.
They
weren't in on it. They weren't in on it, but they benefited.
Yeah. So what's the backstory to the Black Sox scandal?
So the backstory is the Chicago White Sox were the premier team. They were the best team. They had the best player, Shoeless Joe Jackson, probably the best hitter, not necessarily the best player. But they had him on the team. They had some amazing pitchers. They just had an incredible baseball team and were the favorites by far. The owner, I think it was Comiskey.
It was Comiskey, yeah.
Just treated him like crap. Just didn't pay him.
That's what I heard. He was a famous cheapskate,
he was
right?
a super cheap guy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't pay. And at that time, there was no such thing as free agency.
Right.
So you were stuck with the team you were stuck with.
Right. And other teams were getting paid a lot more money.
What he chose, they were the best team, and some of the mediocre teams were getting paid better.
Yeah.
And they were selling out. I mean, they were an amazing team. So the gangsters saw the opportunity.
Arnold Rothstein.
Yeah.
Who was a good buddies of Al Capone.
Yep.
And Rothstein was a New York gangster, and he was incredibly, beautifully turned out dude. Yeah.
Impeccable.
Yeah, he saw an opportunity.
Yeah. And, he saw the opportunity. He had a meeting. Shoeless Joe went to, I think, 2 of the meetings.
Yeah.
I don't think he took any of the money.
I always thought that he took some money, then tried to give it back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, Blake, do you have any idea on that one?
I definitely think at some point in the future he's going to be reinstated. Like I actually thought, like when they went back to Iowa, like for the first Field of Dreams game, I thought they were going to announce it like he's going to the Hall of Fame.
See, that would be actually a really good thing. It would have been good to do it in 2019. By the way, but Shoeless Joe, he still hit like 380. 375 during the World Series, and he hit the only home run.
Yeah, so he had 12 hits. It was the highest average in the World Series until 1964. Mm-hmm. And he made no errors in the series.
Yeah.
Right? No errors in the series.
Yeah.
375.
He lived up to it. He lived up to his billing.
Right.
He lived up to his billing. He definitely wasn't throwing the games. The pitchers, on the other hand, that were involved, that were participating, didn't perform like they had during the season.
Correct.
They were just good enough to fake it.
Yeah.
because they did win a couple of games.
They did. Was it? Yeah, I think it was. Wasn't it best of 9 in those days? And it was like 5-2 or something.
Yeah, I think it was 5-2. So they did win a couple of games, but because of this, and it didn't come out until a couple months afterwards.
Yeah.
But because of this is why we have a commissioner in baseball now, Kennesaw.
The greatest name of all time, Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis. Fuck me, that's a great name.
Yeah, just keep it going. And he was a tough guy.
Yeah.
And he kicked all 8 of the players out that had any association with the gang, with the mafia.
And lifetime ban.
Yeah, and lifetime ban and could never come back.
Yeah.
So Shoeless Joe, do you know how Shoeless Joe got his name?
Didn't wear shoes?
He did wear shoes, but in the minor leagues, he got a new pair of shoes, and they were hurting his feet so bad, he took them off for like the last half of the game.
And that was it?
It was for one game.
Yeah.
And it was because he took off his shoes, because his shoes, like evidently the spikes were coming, because we're metal spikes, and you don't have the right soles, or if your soles wear out, the spikes actually come through, and they don't feel comfortable wearing metal spikes.
And that's where he got the name.
And that's how he got the name. He took off his shoes for like 3 innings at a lower level. He was either in a semi-pro game or a minor league game. So he had the name basically before he even got to the majors.
So the first time I heard about this was, I was still in Ireland, late 80s, watching Field of Dreams. And we'd gone through, me and some buddies of mine, we fucking love sports. And we went through Bull Durham Major League and then Field of Dreams. And it was like this discovery of baseball, and we were all emigrating to America. It was like, we need to learn about America.
We got
baseball movies, right? And then, one of my first weeks in America, I read The Great Gatsby for the first time. And there's a reference in The Great Gatsby to, there's a character in The Great Gatsby, Meyer Wolfsheim, and he's the man who fixed the World Series. And it's a oblique reference to Arnold Rothstein.
Okay.
And suddenly I'm like, this is incredible. But yeah, it's such a... And here's what's interesting to me, right? So I've known about it before I came to America. But when I talk to the kids at school today, they don't know about this.
They don't know about 8 Men Out.
And I read The Great Gatsby to that's one of the novels we read, but they don't know the story.
That's the beauty of, like, when I was growing up, baseball, the history of baseball, because the game stayed so closely to the original.
Yeah.
You can compare stats over time.
Right.
Can't do it in football. Can't do it in
No, because
basketball.
it's different.
You can, I mean, and those are the sports that I associate with the best. But baseball, you can always do it. You can always have that. And one of my favorite characters in Field of Dreams is Doc Graham.
Yeah. Burt Lancaster.
Yeah. Burt it does an amazing job.
Moonlight Graham.
Yeah. He just never got that one at bat. Yeah. But Moonlight Graham, and he comes and he's, the real hero, not the sports hero, but he's the small town hero in that town. And that's, there's a lot of
beautiful about
there's a lot of Doc Grahams in the world.
I love baseball for the simplicity of the game. There's something magic about, can you hit the ball I'm throwing?
Yeah.
There's something beautiful with that. My dad, one of the first times he came to America, we took him up to see the Jacksonville Suns, and he was like, fucking baseball. Fucking American shite.
Yeah.
Within 2 minutes, my dad is hooked.
He got it.
He's hooked. And by the end of the game, he understands baseball better than most people I've talked to about
that are
baseball.
at the game.
Yeah. And he's fascinated by it.
Well, see, and
it's just that. It's like, can you hit what I'm throwing?
I went to a Stetson baseball game, and they got a brand new stadium down there, and it's gorgeous. Saturday night, they're playing University of Pittsburgh, and I'm at that game, and it's just live baseball to me because there's so many moving parts. Like, they're like, oh, it's so boring. But if you really get the game,
it's magic.
There's so many moving parts. And I start yelling at both coaches and the umpire and the other coach, and I'm eating my boiled peanuts and ate my hot dog, and I'm just sitting there going, man, this is what it's about.
It's magic. It's magic is what it is.
I mean, I enjoy a good baseball game over almost every sporting event live. Yeah. Now, on TV, I don't enjoy it as much because I can't steal the signs and I can't.
Yeah, you're not one. Yeah.
And Blake's been to a game with me, like, where I'm like, hey, did you see that? And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh yeah, the shortstop just gave the sign to the center fielder, and because there's little things that happen within the game that you can only see.
Defensive shifts and things like that. I just love it. I like every part of it.
Yeah. So
every part.
But the biggest sports scandal of all time
Yeah, Chicago
it's
Black
the
Sox.
Chicago Black Sox scandal.
All right, can I give you a cute scandal?
Let's go with the cutesy one. Cutesy one.
And it's personal to me because it's a guy that ended up living in my hometown.
Okay.
And a buddy of mine ended up dating his daughter. And we may have painted their names on the side of the water tower in my hometown, and it may still be there.
It still may or may not be
from
there.
1985.
There you go.
But anyway, this is a thing called, it's Yellow Sam, and it's a horse racing scandal. The horse was called Yellow Sam. And the gambler was Barney Curley, who was a stone cold legend. Bookmaker's nightmare, right? And Barney Curley in 1975 came up with this plan. There was a race course on the east coast of Ireland called Bellewstown. They only had 2 meetings a year. And it was for horses that were one step above becoming dog meat.
Yeah.
Right?
Glue.
It was one of those, right?
Yeah.
Barney Curley took the bookies for 300,000 in 1975. A little over €2 million in today's money. Right?
I'm liking this guy already.
So he ran the horse, Yellow Sam, in all kinds of unfavourable conditions in the months leading up to the Bellewstown race meeting. So when Yellow Sam went to post at the start of the race, he was 20-1, right? 20-1. In the 30 minutes before the race went off, Barney had gambler friends of his all around Ireland putting bets down between, nothing major, but between 10 and £100 on the horse. But the key was the fact that there was only 2 phone lines into Bellewstown racecourse. Barney's fellas cut one phone line, and another guy at the course got on the phone 15 minutes, got in a phone box, got on the phone 15 minutes before the race,
And just
stayed on the phone.
Stayed on the phone.
Stayed on the phone. So they couldn't get the odds down all around the country onto the on course, the bookies who set the prices on course. Nobody could bring the price down. Of course, Curley then paid off the jockeys on the other horses.
Yeah.
Yellow Sam romped in, and that was it.
Did he make it close, or did he win?
No, he won by like 2.5 lengths. It wasn't
a blowout.
Yeah. But they've made movies about it in Ireland. There's books about it. But Curley went on to.
How did they get caught?
We never got caught. They knew he did it, but they couldn't
prove it.
Or he hadn't technically. They couldn't prove that he cut the phone line. So technically, he hadn't done anything illegal. If they could have
except paying off the other jockeys.
Well, but they couldn't prove it. Like it was all rumor. But he ended up buying one of those old, massive landed gentry housing, gorgeous estates just outside of my hometown, right? With the Middleton House. And then do you know what the fucker did? In the late 1980s, right before I came here, he came up with a lottery, a raffle, for somebody to buy the house. Now, it's this massive, sort of like Downton Abbey kind of a place with all the land. And at the time, lotteries were illegal in Ireland. So, for a £100 ticket, and he did it all over Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales, you could have a chance to win Barney Curley's mansion.
Yes.
Some lucky fella won the thing. It was illegal. Barney went to jail for 7 months, out in 2 months on appeal.
Got his house back.
On appeal. Made £3.5 million on the lottery. Went to the guy who had the place, who had no idea what, because it was massive and huge grounds, and bought it back off him for £1.5 million.
So the guy still won.
So
he still won on £100.
Right, but Barney got his house back and made an £1.5 million profit.
That's beautiful.
How do you not love this guy?
You gotta love that guy. You gotta love that
Brilliant.
guy.
Brilliant guy.
All right. The other scandal we got to talk about, and this is the time I grew up, and you're in that same age range, but I don't think it was as scandalous in soccer. Steroids.
Right, the steroid era of baseball.
I grew up in the steroid era. And I don't know if you guys, can tell on the camera, because I understand camera puts on like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm not on steroids. I know it's shocking.
Ladies and gentlemen, Troy is not on steroids.
Not on steroids. But I can tell you this. When I was playing, and people get mad at me when I say this, it was not against the rules.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't against the rules.
It was not against the rules. Like, people are busting on McGuire. They're busting on Palmeiro. They're busting on Bonds. They're busting on all these guys. Yeah. When they were playing, it wasn't ethical. but it wasn't against the rules.
Right.
I didn't do. I was asked to go on steroids because I was a pretty decent athlete. I was a pretty good baseball player, but I was small. And Kermit, actually, I'm looking at Pirate Museum. He was a scout for the Pirates. He's like, Troy, I'll sign you today, but I need you to put on 20 pounds. And I was like, Kermit, I can't put on weight. I've tried everything. I mean, that's when my metabolism actually worked.
God, I remember those days.
Yeah. Yeah. Be good to have that back. But I just couldn't put on weight.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this, I had half my team was on steroids.
Yeah.
You know, that I was playing at Seminole. Not so much at Flagler. Flagler, it was like maybe 3 or 4 guys.
Right, so all these guys,
I can tell you this, you still had to hit the ball.
That's the thing. You still have to hit the fucking thing.
Yeah, you still have to hit the ball. People talk about Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player that ever played the game.
He was amazing before he was on steroids.
Yeah, he won 3 MVPs before he put on weight.
Yeah.
He won 4 more after that.
Yeah.
But he won 3 before he put on the weight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this guy is, to me, still he's never going to be in the Hall of Fame, I don't think.
No, I don't think he will.
I don't think McGuire will ever be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think Sosa will ever be.
That season, McGuire and Sosa chasing a home run record.
It saved the game.
It did save the game because the strike was
2 years earlier.
94?
No, yeah, it was 3 years earlier, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and they were the summer of 97,
98, yeah.
So, the strike season bollocks baseball up. Mm-hmm. They came out. That season.
It canceled the World Series.
Did you? First time ever, right?
Yeah.
By the way, the Montreal Expos were the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
That season.
The only chance they had to winning, and now the Nationals do have a title.
Yeah.
So,
but they definitely saved baseball. It was fascinating following it that season, watching what they were doing, where they were hitting the ball. Like the Sosa McGuire thing was amazing. It really was. Mm-hmm. But
I'm not going to deny it doesn't give you strength. It does. It helps you work out better. It doesn't necessarily give you strength, but it allows you to get stronger faster.
I will argue, though, that the Atlanta Braves would have won more than one World Series in that time period if they didn't come up against the Yankees with everybody on fucking steroids.
Oh, everybody was juicing.
Like, you look at Maddox when he comes in the league, Glavine came in the league, Smalls comes in the league.
But they lost to the Twins and they lost to the...
But that was in the early 90s.
That was in the early 90s.
But the late 90s, they lost 3 to the Yankees.
Yeah.
And...
2
to the Yankees? And it was robbery.
99.
Okay.
Robbery.
So, how many they lost 5, didn't they, during the 90s?
So it was 91, 92.
Yeah.
They won in 95.
Against Cleveland.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then lost in 96. Then lost in 99.
They lost in 96
so
to the Yankees
they
again.
They were in the World Series 5 times, only won 1.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I mean, they're still a team in the 90s.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, but also speaking about the 98 home run chase, have you ever seen the famous Sports Illustrated cover?
Which one was that?
The one where
yeah.
McGuire, Sosa, and Toga up it.
Yeah.
But so, also at that same time, right, the steroid thing, we got the Lance Armstrong thing.
Yeah, and I was going to segue into that because...
So, I have a Lance Armstrong story. Mm-hmm. So I was at the 96 Olympics.
Okay.
And I'm watching the cycling race. My whole thing to go to the Olympics was last day of track and field, but they were having the road race, the cycling road race. And I remember Lance Armstrong was doing pretty good in the race, and all of a sudden, the start of the last lap, and it's a big, like, 10 or 12 mile lap each time around the city.
Yeah.
But suddenly, Miguel Indurain, who was the Tour de France champion that in whatever it was, 96, he goes up the hill like suddenly there's a motor, right?
Atlanta was 96, yeah.
And Lance, just fell apart and he was nowhere. Within a couple of years, Lance Armstrong was winning the Tour de France.
The most dominant.
Right? He wins 7 Tour de France. 7!
Yeah.
No one's ever won. I think the most before that was 5. Maybe Bernardino won 5. Indurain won 4, right? He won 7. But I remember Greg LeMond, the first American to win the Tour de France. LeMond was talking about...
And he won 3, right?
Yeah. But after the third one, where he beat Laurent Fignon in the famous time trial, he said he comes back the next year. And guys he had beaten by 25 minutes over the whole tour were beating him by an hour.
Yeah.
And he said within a year, he couldn't even compete.
Yeah.
And he was the best cyclist in the world. And Lance Armstrong was doing, he was doing human growth hormones. He was doing blood doping. He was doing everything. He was doing
the oxygenating.
He was doing the EPO stuff. Yeah.
And see, the EPO stuff. And here's the thing, and I said this on the show, and I didn't understand like why during COVID, because it attacked your lungs so hard.
Yeah.
Why weren't they using the same thing they used on Lance
Okay.
to recover? Because that was 100% about lung recovery.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why that wasn't happening.
I
still don't know to this day. And I'm not a doctor, but to me, it's fixing the same issue because when you have lack of oxygen is when you start to wheeze.
Yeah, so maybe that's
what that drug did for Lance. It kept him in the it kept him climbing, because where he made the difference with this was in the hills, in the mountains, and climbing.
So I remember reading. I was in Philadelphia.
Uh-huh.
The Sunday of the second tour that he won. I remember reading, there was a wonderful article about him, and it was like one solitary man on his bicycle, how the article began. And I was in love with Lance Armstrong. Yeah. And I thought it was an extraordinary story, because he'd come back from testicular cancer. Yeah. And then
I had the wristband.
To live strong.
I had the yellow shirt.
But in a couple of years, I hated that fucker. He was the biggest fucking cheese.
Here's the thing that I dislike the most about Lance. Like the baseball players, like everyone on the baseball side, everyone attacked Jose.
Yeah.
Now, I personally know Jose. Jose is worthy of being attacked. And his twin brother's a bigger dick. So, because he's got a twin brother.
Yeah.
Ozzy's his twin brother. Yeah. All right. But, everybody attacked Ozzy or Jose for this. But everything Jose said, when I was reading it, I was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, there's a locker room code, but everything he said was true.
Yeah.
And it all came out. But his name never got cleared.
Right.
I mean, Jose's still considered a villain in baseball.
Yeah.
Because he used it, and he's the one who ratted out everybody else.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Lance was,
the way he treated Lamont, though.
Well, and they got Floyd Landis.
Yeah.
Floyd Landis won in 2011. They got Floyd, and then Floyd ratted out Lance, and then Lance was all pissed about Floyd. But he
attacked Floyd pretty bad too.
Yeah, he did. But
and everybody jumped on Lance's side and attacked Floyd. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was bad. All right, you got another one?
All right, I got it. I can't do this one without doing this because we already talked. My favorite team is the Cincinnati Reds, and I grew up as a big Red Machine.
Yeah.
So I got to talk about Pete.
Pete Rose.
Rose. Because of the Black Sox scandal, baseball don't play jokes about
gambling. No, they don't.
They don't play around with that. And I never heard Pete bet against his team, which would have really hurt me.
Yeah.
He never bet against his team is the way I understand it. And no one could ever prove that he bet against his team.
Yeah.
But he did bet when he knew his team was in a better position.
Yeah.
He bet for his team when he felt like his team was in a better position.
Isn't that what gambling is all about?
That's what it's all about. But you can't do that as a coach.
Right.
He was a coach. He controlled the outcome sometimes.
Yeah.
They never did prove that he bet against his team, because that would have crushed me.
But he should be in the Hall of Fame.
He's got to be in the Hall of Fame. There's so many bad people in the Hall of Fame. And one of the stories I was going to do was a story about Doc Ellis. You ever heard the story of Doc Ellis?
The LSD.
He was doing LSD. Yeah. He was doing LSD and threw a no-hitter. He said he couldn't see the batter a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's so many. Fergie Jenkins has some sexual violence charges against him, and he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So there's certain people that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Pete Rose got more hits than anybody else in baseball.
And he did it for so long, and he was such a competitor.
Yeah.
What did you say over there, Blake?
Except Ichiro, if you count Japan.
Don't make me come in the booth. No, you can walk home, Blake. I have the keys. So, yeah, but Ichiro was amazing, and I do love Ichiro. But Pete should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But he did what he did. I don't like the fact that he didn't come clean for a while. And that part bothers me.
Yeah.
When you get caught, go ahead and admit it.
Yeah, but come on. He's got to be in the Hall of Fame. He's got to be.
Yeah.
He's got to be. I'm going to finish on one here,
right,
which was a personal favorite of mine. It's the 1986 World Cup.
Okay.
It's the quarterfinals in Mexico City. It's at the Azteca Stadium, one of the iconic soccer grounds in the world. It's England, Argentina in the quarterfinal. It's a couple of years after the Falklands War. And Diego Armando Maradona scores twice in the game to beat England. And we love him in Ireland. And we love him because not only did he score the greatest goal that was ever scored in the history of soccer, the second goal in that game.
The greatest ever.
Greatest of all time. When you consider the venue, it's a World Cup quarterfinal, it's everything that matters. But 10 minutes before that, he scored the Hand of God goal.
The Hand of God.
The Hand of God, where he flicked it in with he jumped up to head it and hit it with his hand. Now today,
it would have been waved off because it would
VAR. Then he got it with the video replay. But back in those days, it wasn't caught. And after the game, they said, "How did you score?" And he said, "It was a little bit Diego, a little bit the Hand of God." And it mattered because Argentina hated England because of the Falklands. And Maradona was, okay, if Messi's the greatest of all time, if Messi's the angel, Maradona's the devil. Like, if you still to this day, if I needed somebody to play soccer for my life, I'd fucking take Maradona any day of the week. Because he was mean, nasty, and he was brilliant. But he got away with that. He scores the Hand of God goal, and then 10 minutes later scores the greatest goal that's ever been scored. And that's who he was.
Legit, though.
Legit.
That one was legit.
Legit. And then they went on to win the World Cup. And it's amazing.
Because you're a soccer lover. Blake's a soccer lover. What was the guy's name that was so amazing for like 4 or 5 years, and then he had such a drug problem? George something.
Oh, George Best.
George Best.
George Best.
Yeah.
The best Man United player ever.
What's his story?
So Best was he's Northern Ireland. He's from Northern Ireland.
I thought he was an Irish guy.
He was known as the fifth. He was so famous. He was known as the fifth Beatle.
Okay,
right?
Because he was that popular.
He was that popular, that good. At 17, he won in 1968. He scored in the European Cup final, which was the equivalent of the Champions League. First time Man United won it. He scored against Benfica in the final.
At 17.
At 17, ran the show. He was unbelievable. Pele said he was the greatest player of all time.
I heard that quote.
And he weighed about 130 pounds, and he had the long hair. He drank more than anybody else. He's slept with 3 Miss Worlds.
Yeah.
He was done by the age of 26. He was done.
Yeah, because of his drug addiction and
alcohol addiction, and just feckless of everything. But he was from a hard part of Belfast, and he had everything handed to him. You know, at the end, like, suddenly he's 17 and 18, and he's the most famous soccer player in the world. They're raving about him everywhere he goes. Like, the first time he played away in this, I think, the 67 quarterfinal in Benfica, and they clapped him off the field. Like, it was just, they'd never seen anybody like him.
He was that impressive.
He was just that good. And he was funny, and he was a veteran. I mean, it's a scandal that...
It's an amazing story that a lot of people don't know.
But if you watch him, like, he was suspended several times for all kinds of shit. He came back once after being suspended for a month, and he scored 6 goals the next game. 6! He got 6 in a game! But he walked on it, and this was when you could tackle people. You could murder people in the tackle. And the pitches were muddy.
And he was tiny.
And he was tiny, dancing around everybody.
He was like Messi size, right?
Yeah. I think I've told you this before. The joke in Ireland and England has always been like the guy banging on the hotel room, and he eventually gets in the room, and Best is in the bed, and he's in the bed with Mary Staven, who was Miss USA or Miss America at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And Best is in bed with Mary Staven, and there's bottles of champagne everywhere. There's money everywhere. There's cocaine. And George is late for a game. And the hotel guy, the porter, is going, Jesus, George, where did it all go wrong?
Where did it all go wrong?
Right?
He's like,
yeah, look him up on YouTube. It's amazing. He's amazing.
He's like, I'm in bed with Miss World.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got to talk about our sponsors right now. Palm Valley Golf Club, they're about to have all the bays going. They're going to have 15 bays of the Tracer Golf.
Play any course.
Virtual golf. You actually hit the ball out into the course. It's not you're hitting into the net. You're hitting out into the driving range from where they're at. So you get to see the ball leave.
Yeah.
And you can play it at night. So
it's incredible.
They have 2 of them set up right now. They're about to have all of them set up with
15 bays.
Yeah, 15 bays.
Incredible.
Of this. You can have drinks there. You can just enjoy yourself. Palm Valley Golf Club, the best place in town to learn how to play golf and enjoy the game of golf.
Absolutely.
All right,
River and Fort. Look at, guys, it's right downtown. It's on the corner. You see the river, you see the fort. Go there and go upstairs and look out the damn window. Go all the way up the rooftop. You've never seen a view like it. The food's amazing. The staff's incredible. It is top freaking notch. River and Fort.
It's so good. St. Augustine Pirate Museum, over 800 artifacts. It is the premier museum along the waterfront right there.
Yeah.
If you get there, ask for Captain Mayhem. See if he's there to give you.
Oh, if he's there, get a tour with Mayhem.
Get a personal tour.
Incredible. Meehan's Irish Pub.
Oh.
Look it.
St. Patrick's Day is coming.
From St. Patrick's Day. This is the closest thing my people will ever have to Christmas. 3 bars in one. I'll be there at 11 o'clock on Friday morning, March 17th. See how long you can hang with me. Game the fuck on.
Bam. All right, Beacon Listening Room. Catch me every Wednesday night there at Trivia. Make sure you call and get your reservation because we're packed every Wednesday night. Gypsy Cab Company.
Food's amazing.
Best food around town. Can't really beat it. Abare, Kresge and Associates.
It's tax season. If you want to not get in trouble with the IRS, see Abare, Kresge and Associates. They're the best tax attorneys in the town. Maybe the best in the state.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
They're my people. My peeps. All right, 900-degree pizza and pasta. I'm telling you right now, this pizza, when you open the box, you go, that's what a pizza is supposed to look like. When you pick it up and bite it, you're like, that's what a pizza is supposed to taste like. 900-degree pizza and pasta. They're on Lewis Speedway. Go check them out. They have amazing ravioli, spaghetti, anything you want over there, and just check those guys out.
City Gates Distillery and St. Augustine Distillery. Guys, go to these places. Get the tour. Drink the booze. It is so good. It's so good. The St. Augustine Distillery, the tour is legendary. And then, do yourself a favor. Go get some dinner.
Yeah.
Get some dinner. Go to the Ice Pond. It's right there.
Yeah.
Can't beat it. Support our sponsors, guys. They put us on the air. It's what makes the town great.
All right. Inventors. All right, I have 3. You have 3?
Yes.
Is that where we're at?
Yes.
I actually have 4, but we're short on time, so I want to hit the 3.
All right. Who you want to go with first?
I got to go with the guy who we're celebrating this week. Was the first, I believe it was on Tuesday, was the first time a telephone call was made.
Watson.
Alexander.
Come here.
Yeah.
I need you.
Yeah, Mr. Watson.
Mr. Watson.
Come here. I need you. Well, you should know that one. The Watson name.
The Watson
You
name.
better get the Watson name right. All right, but Alexander Graham Bell, just a really, really unique guy.
Yeah.
He was working on audio and stuff for the deaf. He had a lot of other inventions.
Right, because his mother and his wife were deaf.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was what got him
he
into
worked. He started with the audio stuff with his dad when they came over, and I want to make sure I get this right. So he came over from Edinburgh.
Yeah, Scottish guy.
Edinburgh, and he lived to be 75 years old, and he died in Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. New Scotland.
Yes.
Nova Scotia.
So he still had the Scottish
He did.
Scottish world about him.
Did you know he was the president of the National Geographic Society? I just learned that.
I read that.
National Geographic.
It said he was a strong influence. I did not know he was the president. Oh, he was the second president.
Second president
of that. But what he did basically changed the world. And we and a lot of you guys are watching us right now on what? On your phone.
Telephone.
This is the guy. And then right now I'm watching my son who's in our living room, and he's doing okay.
Yeah. So
from our telephone. So it's amazing where his invention has taken us.
Yeah. So telephone, do you know what it means?
No, I do not.
Okay, so phonics, sound, right? Tele means at a distance. So telephone means sound at a distance.
Excellent.
So television means sight at a distance. Telescope, all those kind of things, they all
means at a distance.
At a distance, yeah.
Telethon?
It means Jerry Lewis.
at a distance.
At a distance,
it's going to take a long time to get there.
Yeah. But Alexander Graham Bell, it's 1876. This is when he has to pay. He founded AT&T.
Yeah.
He founded the Bell telephone company. Bell in Canada
Bell
still exists. AT&T is his company. AT&T is his company. This is the guy, the reason everything what you have in your pocket right now, it's Alexander Graham Bell. I would argue there wasn't a more important invention.
I don't, in my mind, when we said we were going to do inventors, I was like, all right, it's Edison's the easy one.
Yeah.
Because he had so many patents, but he also had so many people working for him. And he
claimed things.
Not taking anything away from Edison,
Right.
but the feud between Edison and Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla was absolutely brilliant. Edison was a smart man, but Tesla was absolutely brilliant. When he first came here, you know who he worked for. He worked for Edison.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then they got in a squabble about AC and DC.
Oh.
And Tesla didn't care to ever be rich. Edison was about making the money from his invention.
Well, and Edison is connected to St. Augustine.
St. Augustine, yeah. The power plant that's at Flagler College, that smokestack that's still there at the Art Museum, was for the power plant that Edison put in for the Ponce Hotel.
And it was the first switchable on and off lights.
Yes.
And they hired somebody
for each floor.
For each floor.
It wasn't just like for the whole hotel. They had somebody for each floor that would come in and turn on the lights for the guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different worlds.
But I agree.
Times.
I agree, and it's funny because that's the only one that we both had. Because when we do it, and you guys know this, when we give ourselves a topic, and then we just kind of go. But that's the only one we both had.
Yeah.
Was, as far as the inventors go.
Oh yeah.
All right, who you got?
Okay, so I'm going to go with a guy that I always liked him, but I learned something really interesting about him this week. So I'm going to go with Marconi.
Oh.
Right? Radio guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Also very important.
So Marconi basically invents the radio today, right? Mm-hmm. And in 1901, he transmits across the Atlantic from Newfoundland to a little town in the west of Ireland called Clifton, right? Now, Clifton is a bizarre fucking place. The first transatlantic radio broadcast was ever sent to Clifton. It's also the place where the first transatlantic flight landed. Not Lindbergh, because he was the first solo flight.
Yeah.
But it was two British RAF pilots, Alcock and Brown.
Okay.
Actually flew across from Newfoundland to the Azores, then from the Azores to Clifton, landed in a bog in Ireland in 1919. That was the first flight. So this tiny little town in the west of Ireland is kind of famous for these two things. Uh-huh. But I was always wondering, why? Why Clifton? Why Ireland? Why didn't he send it to somewhere else? And I fucking found the reason.
Okay, I was going to say because if it didn't work, no one would know because it was in Clifton. But it was a safety valve. That's what I was going to say with the pilots. But
right, so Marconi's mother was Irish, and her last name, his mother was Annie Jameson. Annie Jameson. Ring any bells there, sir?
I can drink to that.
You can drink to that. Annie Jameson was the granddaughter of John Jameson, the founder of Jameson whiskey. So Marconi of radio fame was basically the great
He might
grandson.
be my favorite inventor now.
Great grandson of John Jameson. I didn't know that.
We're going to have a drink on St. Patrick's Day in Meehan's to Marconi.
To Marconi. Yeah. How about that?
That's incredible.
Isn't that like there's something just beautiful about that.
But you know what we won't say? Hip.
We will not say that. Marconi also is the guy who set up the Vatican radio.
Yeah.
He did all of those things. And they made him a marquis and everything, like he was given titles and everything in Italy for what he did. But yeah, the great grandson of John Jameson. That's
great.
Enough for me.
That is wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. All right, my next one. My next one is George Washington Carver.
I've heard of this guy.
Most people know him as the peanut guy.
Yeah.
But people don't understand how many different things. He came up with over 350 ways to use the peanut. And it was like so many different things going on with that. But George Washington Carver, his parents were born slaves. He was actually not even allowed to learn how to read and write when he was younger. But this guy, modern agriculture where it is today would not be where it is if it wasn't for George Washington Carver. The way we feed the United States, the way we feed the world would not be the same
Without this guy.
Without for George Washington Carver. A lot of people only know him as the peanut guy or the professor from Tuskegee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But he created the balance of fertilization and the testing of soils. He created rotation of crops. He created so many different things that saved space and generated percentages of where our crops are today. So,
right, because of course, like the whole Dust Bowl thing was created because we didn't rotate crops. We didn't understand.
We took all the nutrients out. But George Washington Carver's the one that discovered, okay, if we're pulling the nutrients, this is what we do in the off season instead of doing this.
Right, to put the damn nutrients back in.
If you're doing cotton, you need to rotate it with peanuts or sweet potatoes or something like that and return it. And without his research, and it was worldwide what he did. And I think, to me, he's the most underrated inventor on our list.
God.
Because he fed the entire world in less space, less time, and made it healthier.
Wow. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, what's more important than the food we eat?
Yeah, really, yeah. Okay.
What's more important than the food we eat? And to me, he was a guy I couldn't. I mean, I had Benjamin Franklin. I mean, I went through a list. And
I did too, yeah.
I know you did too. I went through Benjamin Franklin. I went through, but when I got to him, and here's the really funny thing. I grew up in the South.
Yeah.
A very prejudiced 70s South still. And we did a play about George Washington Carver when I was a kid. We didn't have enough black students in my school in fifth grade to do it. I ended up playing George Washington Carver. Not in blackface. Not in blackface.
Because if it was blackface, I would have asked for a photograph.
But it was one of those things where I remember the racial tensions were so strong at that time. Coach Thomas, who was my hero, still, I mean, I talked about him on the morning show, I think, last week. My hero came to me and said, "Hey, can you do this?" I was like, "Coach, I'll do anything for you." I was in fifth grade. Yeah, this guy's Florida A&M, like running back, just a great human being. Still alive today, still a great guy. But I remember he even asked my parents whether or not I could play a black character. It wouldn't even be a question.
Yeah.
Today, of whether or not I would be allowed to play a black character in the play.
That's incredible.
But I remember that tension, and it was like because we did the play in front of like parents and stuff like that, and I remember it being like, what
the fuck?
There's a white kid. There's a white kid playing George Washington Carver. But I remember that happening. So, but I could not leave him off the list because people don't understand how impactful he was to our entire agriculture.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough. We're getting the old wrap it up from Blake there.
Yeah, we got like 4 minutes, so I got one more I want to get into, but you get
4 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
2 minutes, all right.
2 minutes,
So I want to talk just very, very briefly. I grew up believing that a Scotsman called John Logie Baird invented the television. And then I come to America, and people in America tell me Philo Farnsworth invented the television.
Is what I always heard.
So I was looking it up today, and Farnsworth, 1927, video camera tube, first functional all-electric television. Great. I'm like, okay, it's Farnsworth. And then I realized that in 1926, a year earlier, the Scottish guy, John Baird, had the first live working television system. And they were basically both operating off the same science. It was actually Russian science they were operating off of. And basically just on different sides of the world and arguing. But Farnsworth gets a lot of the credit because of diagrams he did when he was in high school.
I didn't hear that story. I think I actually saw that on a special.
Yeah.
And they validated the timeline of his drawings.
Yeah. Now, Baird would have had no idea of this because he was coming from, operating in Scotland and all that. But Baird was the first guy that then later on gave his first colour television, and in 1928 the first transatlantic TV transmission.
Yeah.
Both guys kind of working off the same original science, coming at the same finish, almost the exact same time. Kind of incredible. Television. There you go.
All right. My last one, you're not going to like this one.
That's okay.
It's an Englishman.
Fair enough. I'll allow.
Tim Berners-Lee.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. He invented this little thing. It was not Al Gore.
The internet.
He invented the World Wide Web.
Woo.
He was an Englishman, computer scientist. He was best known for inventing the World Wide Web. And what he did is in March of 1989, he implemented the first successful communication between hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP.
Yeah, HTTP. Yeah. Wow.
So this guy truly changed the world, and he did it as he was a professor at MIT.
Wow.
When he came up with this.
Wow.
But no one really knows his name.
Yeah.
He was knighted in 2004, but to me it was somebody I felt like I should know his name.
Yeah.
And I didn't know his name, so that's why I wanted to bring him up.
Wow. Okay, fair enough. Mad respect for that.
Yeah, Tim Berners-Lee. And of course I had to look up what his net worth is. Take a guess what his net worth is.
I bet he's one of those guys that just didn't care about money.
Yeah, it's about $8 million.
$8 million. It should be like...
It should be in the billions.
He should own everything.
Should be in the billions. Like Bezos,
yeah,
Zucker,
Bill Gates,
all those guys should be just writing this guy a check.
Yeah, they should.
You know, and I don't know if he even cares. Like you said, I don't know if he cares.
Care.
All right, guess what? That's the end of our show. We will not be here next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Enjoy your spring break. This is Bollox Talks and Tangents, and we'll see you later.
See you guys.